Hey guys, how's it going? I know it's been a very long minute since we've spoke last, but yeah, I mean, I guess June's been kind of a busy month for me, and I think I mentioned a few readings ago that I wasn't going to do any unless I was called to, and I hadn't been called to in a while, and I guess I'm not really sure why. I was going through some schedule changes, the new semester, new classes, and then I had a few new things happen, I guess, on a personal level. We started a group, I think I mentioned it the last reading, from our DBT therapy group that ended, and a few of us are continuing to meet on Wednesdays, and that is at the Salt Cave. Very strange, the video just stopped for no apparent reason. And I was speaking about April and supporting her business, and the dogs agree, apparently. Yeah, a lot of interesting things been happening the last few weeks. I don't know about you guys. I don't know what the astrology is. I know there was a few weird full moons, new moons, some retrogrades, and planets coming out of retrograde, and to be honest, you guys, I really haven't kept up on it. I've been really focused on more of the psychology of what goes on behind spirituality, because mind and body are connected, and there is a physiological equivalent to each of the spiritual, what do I want to say, the spiritual phenomenon, maybe? Yeah, that might be a better word. And I've been trying to bridge the gap between the two for myself. I've been listening to a lot of Alan Watts, Carl Jung, and actually lately, Baba Ram Dass has been one of my favorites. And just understanding things on a simple level, right? Because, as I always say, spirituality, we always think is this really, really big thing, right? And it's really not. It's the little tiny things. I know. Sorry, guys. My nails, I've been chipping away at them. It's the little tiny things, okay? Let me think of a really good example. Off the top of my head, the only thing I can come up with is this comparison. So a lot of people believe in reincarnation, right? I myself believe in reincarnation. I don't know to what level yet that I believe it. And the reason I say that is because if you take reincarnation in its simplest form, it's waking up every day. Really strange. Okay. I have no idea what's going on. I might have to redo this video. I guess there's a possibility maybe my phone is full. I don't know. It just keeps pausing on me. Anyway, you wouldn't know what life is if you didn't know what death was, right? You can't know good without bad. We live in a world of duality. Everybody's trying to get to this fifth dimension, and even Christians believe there's a second coming of Christ. In Revelations, the last book of the Bible. All of these ideas and theories and whatever you want to call them are very similar in many ways. So, the end of the world could mean the end of your ego. Think about what your world is. Your world contains you and what's around you. They talk about the end of the world. Well, is it your world? Is it the entire world? Is it our world? What is it? And a lot of times, I know I kind of went off topic here. Let me see. I'll get back to reincarnation. Reincarnation, waking up every day. Being asleep is like being dead. How would you know what life is without having known what death was? World of duality, good and bad, the whole 9 yards. Trying to get into this fifth dimension, the end of the fourth dimension, or third dimension that we live in. Guys, this is a state of mind for me, right? When you're asleep, it's a state of mind. When you're awake, it's a state of mind. When you are living in duality, it is a state of mind. Duality means when you see good, then the opposite being bad, you don't see those as the same thing, right? And in the fifth dimension, or in the end of the world of duality, or the end of the third dimension, you see good and bad as the same thing. I often talk about two sides of the same coin. A good example is you can't see the stars without the backdrop of night. They are interdependent, okay? But at the end of the day, they have to be one, because you can't have one without the other, right? You can't see the stars without night. And would you notice that it's night without the stars? You know, ask yourself. These are the profound kind of things that I've been kind of mulling over in my head for the last few weeks. And to be honest with you, I've kind of gotten away from tarot. I haven't watched any tarot, which is something I normally do on a daily basis. And I haven't read tarot. But I don't believe that I don't believe in it anymore. I think it was just I was on a different path. I had to get some new knowledge with which to infuse my cards with. So, that being said, this is a really long introduction. I'm really sorry about that. We're going to feel some energies out, you know, see what's going on. I haven't checked in with the collective in a while. I don't know. You know, you guys been going through this? Let me know. Drop some comments below. And let's see, one more shuffle and then we'll start. These cards are kind of... I can't even lie to you guys. I had to dust them. Okay, that's how long it's been since I did a reading. Yeah. But I don't know, I felt called to do one today. So, there's that. All right. Cut to the chase now. Let's get some current energies. Spirit, Source, God, Creator, Universe. Can you give us the current energies for the collective today? Current energies, please. Current energies. Current energies. They're mad at me because I haven't used them in a while. Current energies for today. Okay. We've got the Fool in reverse. Stagnated false start. If you look at this card, the Fool is actually... Okay, so the Fool, many of you know with tarot, he's the 0 card because he is the card or the person or the entity or the energy that travels through the major arcana, right? The major arcana are the lessons that he must learn. And the minor arcana are those decisions which he makes to move along those major life lessons, if you will. So he's jumping off a cliff without looking first, right? The dog's trying to stop him. He's like, dude, what are you doing? You're going to like kill yourself over here. And he's like, oh, it's all rainbows and unicorns. And I'm just going to go about my, you know, merry little way and not worry about anything else. Fool in reverse is kind of that false start in that, he is looking before he leaps, right? He is taking the time to consider his options before walking through that door. I heard a story this morning that actually is going to describe this perfectly for me. And this isn't the traditional reversed Fool definition, but this is what I see when I see this card. I was listening to a podcast about highly sensitive people. 20% of the population in the world is highly sensitive. And it's a neurological effect, phenomenon. It's not necessarily a spiritual one, although they can be interdependent, right? Because we're mind, body, spirit connected. She was talking about how a highly sensitive child is the one that when he walks into kindergarten, stops at the door and takes stock of what's going on around him, right? He's like, is somebody cooking? I can smell something. I see crayons. Do I get to play with those? I see toys. Do I get to play with those? What are those other kids doing? Why are they here? What am I going to do with them? How is this all going to work before he even takes that first step? Right. And of course, the kindergarten teacher will come up and he'll say, or she'll say, oh, are we shy? No, they're not shy. They want to get the lay of the land before they walk into the situation. The other 80% of the population of kids would just run right in and start using stuff, start coloring and doing whatever and playing, and they don't fully think things through, and they make rash decisions, if you will. Neither one is right or wrong. It's just a way of being. It's just the way we're wired. And I say we because I do consider myself to be a highly sensitive person. You know, if you're an adult and you have no idea what these things mean, think back to your childhood. Were you called sensitive? Were you called a drama queen? Were you called a crybaby? Any of these things? You're probably highly sensitive. There's a really great book called The Highly Sensitive Person. You should check it out. Anyway, that's where we're at. We are contemplating our next step. Not really sure. Getting the lay of the land, right? Not taking the leap yet, but we're not taking the leap, if that makes sense. We're just really analyzing it, which is not necessarily a bad thing, you know? Slow and steady wins the race. I always say that. So tell me more about this pause before the new beginning. Tell me more about this pause. Tell me more about this Fool in reverse. Okay. Nine of Swords, overthinking, right? So we can get stuck in the place where we think too long and hard about these steps. You know, at some point we have to take the step or walk away. But standing there stagnant, overthinking things to death is only going to drive you insane. You know, look at the nightmares. You know, just look at the nightmares he's having. And those come as a result of his own thoughts and words to himself. Right, there I see a couple of blackbirds up here, so there's some messages in here. And it's under the moonlight. It's what you can't see. It's not clear yet, but the more you overthink it, the less clear it becomes. It becomes more and more blurry, more and more clouded, if you will. And then you can't make a decision. So you reach a point when this fool who is being smart, considering options, you know, goes too far with that. Like I said, two sides of the same coin, the unity of it all. There's the good side and the bad side, and they're the same thing. You still need to stop and consider, but find the balance, find the middle path, find the middle way with which to make those decisions. And I guess that would be with the Hermit. You know, isolate. Keep yourself in your own energy. Make your own decisions. Don't let other people's thoughts and words get into your thoughts and words. You know, that might be a little bit of what this is. You know, you could be listening to people that are from your past, really. Like, it could be trauma. It could be that voice in your head that's not even yours. But you're allowing it in. And the Hermit says, isolate. You know, go within. Find out what voice is yours. Find your own voice. Look at the blue on my nails. That blue is indicative of third eye chakra and throat chakra. See what's within yourself and speak your truth. Even if it's just to yourself. That's the way to get out of this energy, right? Just go within. Hermit, major life lesson, number 9 card. 9 is the divine number. 9 is the spiritual number. It's also technically the number of completion, because 10s would reduce to a 1, which would start over at the new beginning. So you've got the beginning and the end of numbers, right? You've got the 0 and the 9. So there's that. Can I get some advice on how we can go within, what we're looking for? You know, what is on the horizons for us with this introspection? We get a new way of thinking. Ace of Swords. Thinking like a king. That's what I see in here. Think about how a king, I know it's not the king, it's the ace, but I see the crown here and I feel like it's a king. Could be a queen, I don't know, but it's a authority figure. It's one who rules over their own mind and words. You know, you rule over your own thoughts and words. And if you think about a ruler, they have to take everything into consideration. All of the populations, if they're a good ruler, and do what's best for everyone. And sometimes that doesn't always feel like it's best for everyone, but tough choices have to be made, right? You have to cut some losses. You have to create some new things. Some people might suffer, some people might thrive. But for the good of the kingdom, for the good of your overall well-being, you must make some tough decisions. And these tough decisions will become easier when you start to think like a ruler and rule your own mind. You know, the thoughts and the words that you allow in, that you allow yourself to digest, are going to be new. And when these things happen, guys, it's kind of like, it's kind of like you're climbing up a mountain. Sorry, hang on one second, guys. You're climbing up a mountain and you're taking, you know, small steps, and maybe it's taken you, I don't know, a month to get up the mountain, to the top of the mountain. And when you get to that top of the mountain and you turn around and look back at the journey that you've taken, you have no idea how long it truly was, how much effort you truly put into that, because it was, again, slow and steady wins the race. You know, somebody loses weight and you don't see them for a long time, it looks drastic. It looks very dramatic difference. But if somebody sees them every day, they don't necessarily see it, because it's a slow change over time. And that's what I think this Ace of Swords is. Your new way of thinking is there. You just don't recognize it yet. Or it's shifted ever so slightly that if you look back on how you thought a year ago, you're going to see this new way of thinking jump out at you big time. Give me some advice for this new way of thinking and being introspective, and really just, I mean, I kind of see with all of these cards, putting yourself first. You know, you're the only one that matters. You kind of stopped taking things in from the outside. And that's pretty, and if you haven't yet, then, that's always a good way to be. And now we've got the Ace of Pentacles in reverse. Guys, you've got all beginning cards here. All right, so we've got the Fool, which is the beginning of the major arcanas. Got the Ace of Swords, new way of thinking. Ace of Pentacles is also a new way of thinking about resources. So this could be kind of greedy, going on and on about money. But I don't feel like it's greedy about money. I think it's greedy about time. And I often say this when we get the Ace of Pentacles in reverse. Your resources, your time, your energy, the attention that you put on things is, you're not giving that as freely as you used to. And that's called boundaries, guys. It's called boundaries. And I can't say enough about it. I mean, that's where you want to be. If you're watching this reading looking for financial advice or career advice or whatever, this might not be such a great card to see, but it's always good to know what's coming ahead. And maybe this is telling you to be more greedy with your money. Maybe this is saying don't give it away as much. Make sure that you're taking care of yourself first. What do they say? Never lend more money than you can afford to lose, because most people won't pay it back. And I can attest to that in so many ways, you guys. I can't even tell you. If I were to collect on all the debt that was owed to me, I probably could buy a house, but it's ridiculous. You have to set those boundaries. You have to make sure you take care of yourself first. Because you can't pour from an empty cup. You just can't. So there's that. The only card I really see in here that kind of concerns me at all is this overthinking. And just remember, guys, that everything that happens to us doesn't happen to us. It happens through us, right? It's energy that's returned back to us. It's happening in our highest good. It's reflecting the energies that we are carrying within. And if we don't like the energy that we're seeing on the outside, probably need to look on the inside to change that. Change that way of thinking. Change those thoughts. Change those words that you tell yourself. And be a little greedier with everything, with all of your resources. Just find the middle path with these things, right? Make sure that you are balancing these things out. Yes, you want to think a little bit about the next step, but don't think about it so much that you freeze, Yes, you want to be greedy, but don't be so greedy that you end up being like a hoarder and stingy. There's a difference between greedy and stingy. It's kind of different, And always look within. Your answers lie within you. You hold the flashlight. You hold the key, and the owl says so. So keep those things in mind. I guess I thought it was going to be a much more profound reading today, but maybe not. We'll get some advice from the Soul Truth cards and see what the soul has to say about all this. What's the truth of the matter as the soul sees it? What is the truth of the matter as the soul sees it? Truth of the matter or advice as the soul sees it? What's really going on here? What's going on? Show me what's going on, what the soul sees. The soul wants us to know. What does your higher self want you to know about all of this concerning this reading? A little more. Okay. What is the truth? Thank you. Your needs matter. It's the first words I see on this, but let's read them in order. Am I communicating my needs? Again, with the blue, communicating. Are you seeing what you need? Are you communicating that? Are you speaking your truth? Your needs matter. What you're needing right now, what is it that you're needing right now that you haven't communicated? What are you afraid of? Is it possible that what you're fearing is not true? That brings up a good point, guys. We can make up these stories in our head and believe them. We can convince ourselves that they're true, and we've never asked the question of the other person, of the other whoever, whatever, to see if it's true. We're trying to, our brain is constantly trying to put the puzzle together. And it's like putting a puzzle together. Have you ever seen those puzzles that are pure white? It's like trying to do that instead of having the colors in the puzzle. If you have the colors, you may have asked the question, and it's a little easier to put things together. But ultimately, you need a guide, right? Your soul is your guide. Your higher self is your guide. God is your guide. The universe, spirit, source, all guides, right? And then the other thing that's also guides is patterns. The patterns of other people, The difference is, guys, people do change. Maybe you haven't seen a person in 30 years. That's not the same person that you remember. So you can't expect that person's patterns to still be the same. Those patterns are surely in 30 years broken to a degree. Although, no, I guess I've known some people that haven't changed patterns in about 30 years. But, you know, for the most part, people change. And, you know, you can't see them through the lens of 30 years ago. Anyway, let's move on. Today's soul action. Journal these answers. What are my needs? Am I saying no and yes enough based on my desires? Am I telling my full truth? Do I believe that my needs matter, and do I share them with others? Do I ask for what I want? When communicating my needs, what am I resisting and with whom? What do I need in order to feel safe enough to express my needs? So ask yourself those questions, guys. Journal on some of those. You know, I'll hold it here for a minute so you can screenshot it. But I love the feather. I don't know why the yellow and the blue feathers just keep jumping out at me. It almost looks like a bird. But blue and yellow are actually the colors of my school. So I think that's pretty cool. But yeah. Anyway, guys, think about those things. Make sure you're communicating your needs. And make sure you're admitting that you have needs to yourself. Because we don't always do that. And we really need to pay attention to that self-care. And don't worry about offending others. You know, if others get offended by you taking your self-care, then that means that they were somehow benefiting by your lack of boundaries. So keep that in mind. All right, guys, I'm going to leave it there, and we'll talk soon. Much love and light. Hey, guys. How's it going? I know I haven't, yeah, whatever. Anyway, let's talk about the reading. The video stopped twice. Once it stopped when I was talking about the salt cave. So those of you in Albuquerque who watch, check out the salt cave. Do me that favor. She's a great person, really, really into community service, and it would be really nice to support some local businesses that give back to the community the way that April does. I don't get any kickback from any of the people or books or whatever I talk about on this channel. I just talk about things that I really believe in, and the salt cave is an amazing place to heal, and it is an amazing salt cave. I can't even describe the vibes that you get when you walk in there. And I do believe they have a Reiki practitioner there now, so there's that. And yeah, so the video stopped. I think it just, you know, Spirit really wanted me to give April her due credit. She's been an amazing part of my healing journey, and she can be an amazing part of yours. The other time the video stopped was when I was talking about reincarnation. And, you know, I was saying how that reincarnation could be, you know, just waking up every day. Because you get the choice, guys. When you wake up every day, you get the choice to be a different person. To be the person who you truly are in your truth, in your soul. And not be the person that the world told you had to be. And also, at the same time, there could be, and I again, I'm not sure if I believe it or not. I do, to a degree, but I'm expanding in knowledge, and my belief systems change. You know, it happens as you get more knowledge and you ask more questions. You know, we talked about at the end of the video. You have more information with which to make those decisions. But you know, reincarnation. A lot of people talk about karma, and you have to come back and resolve your karma before you can live in the lights, if you will, in the universe, and just kind of be right. I could go on a whole rant about that, but the video did stop, so I did want to touch on that. Reincarnation is whatever you think it is, right? It doesn't have to be the Webster's dictionary definition of what reincarnation means. We reincarnate all the time. You know, talk about a person being different after 30 years. That is a level of reincarnation. You know, you are a different person. So yeah, there's that. I don't know what else to say about that. What does that mean to you? Maybe that's the real question here is, what do all of these words mean to you? You know, when you guys watch these videos, and some of you may watch them with certain questions in your head, right? Maybe you're asking about, I don't know what you would be asking about, maybe romance or career or financial or just spiritual growth in general. You know, I may say words that I mean as one way, and it could be your answer. You know, I guess an example would be, let's see, I came up with the numbers 9 and 1 in the reading. So, you know, September 1st, maybe that's an answer for you. I don't know. Completion, beginning. Maybe you're at the end of a level and you're about to level up, you know, from a spiritual perspective. Maybe, you know, 91 is a football number that means something to you. I don't know, but these things jumped out at me, and I feel like they're your answers. So take it, I hate to sound cliche, but, you know, take it as it resonates. What does it mean to you? That's what resonate means. What can you take from it and make your own? I talked about the names Alan, Carl, and April. I don't know that those names mean anything. April could mean the month. Doesn't have to mean the name. We talked about Ram Dass. And Ram Dass, Ram is a Hindu word for God, and Das means to serve. Ram Dass, to serve God. Did you know that? Did you know about Ram Dass? Did you know he had a channel on YouTube called Be Here Now? I often say that, you know, stay present, be here now. He was a very good friend of Alan Watts, and in my recent rabbit hole, I guess, if you will, of Alan Watts, I've come across more of Carl Jung and more of Ram Dass. So I don't know, maybe you should check them out. Maybe there's be some answers for you in those podcasts. You know, it's a journey, it's a step. Maybe it's just that. Or there's someone in your life named Carl or Alan or April. Who knows? Let's see. The only other thing I really got was, so we had the owl as an animal, and I can read the owl to you here at one point, and then a lot of blue, a lot of blue in the reading today. And what does blue mean to you? For me, like yesterday, we were working on our sign language club, if you will, and we were going over colors, and blue was the only one I could remember, you know. And then there's let's see, light blue, and then there's really deep blue, right? And I don't know why that one jumped out at me, but so blue was on my mind. In your third eye, it talks about your mind being open. You're open to new visions. You're expanding your awareness. Your throat chakra, which is a lighter blue, is you're aligned with your highest truth. You're communicating your needs. You are using words that are loving, right? You're not being mean or ill with your words. And your throat chakra is actually what you accept as well as what you speak. So what words are you letting in? What words are you accepting? And that kind of had that with the Nine of Swords in the reading. So, I mean, that's pretty prominent in the reading today. And, yeah, so, you know, 9's about endings, 1's about new beginnings, leveling up maybe, who knows. The other thing that really jumped out at me today was I was talking about the Ace of Swords and how, you know, you have to rule your thoughts and how it's a ruler. And I said ruler a few times. When I was rewatching the video, I was thinking about a ruler like an actual measurement ruler. And in my classes for school, on my quest to become a therapist, we talk about a change ruler. You know, how on a scale of 1 to 10, how ready are you to change? How confident are you that you can change? You know, this is a readiness ruler from 1 to 10. And actually, we've got the 1 and the 9, the beginning and the end. Maybe that means something to you. Maybe you're ready to make a change. Or maybe you need to measure how far you've come. There's a million ways to interpret that. Or, you know, like an actual ruler, like a king ruler, rule your thoughts and your words. You know, be the ruler of your own world. You get to decide. You get to decide when the boundaries go up. If there's a moat out in front of your castle, are you going to let the Trojan horse in? Who knows? Take that a million different ways. But think a lot about that, how the word can mean two things. And maybe your answer was in a measurement ruler as opposed to a king ruler. So there's that. And I'm getting my book out because I want to read you. I always promise to read you guys something about animals, and then I never do. So this time I'm going to read it. And I know from experience of this book that there's a bunch of different kind of owls. So I'm going to pick the one that I saw, which would be more like, I don't know. Let's just read the common owl one. It looks like this. And it says, meditate in silence and in darkness for a few minutes each evening for the next few days and see what is revealed to you. And we talked about the hermit and going within and how it is nighttime, with the Nine of Swords, and it's cloudy and things need to be revealed. Be alert to any deception on the part of others, whether they're aware of it or not, and look closely behind any guises that they may wear. People sometimes, guys, they do these things. They're deceitful, they're manipulative. They're not doing it on purpose all the time. That's just what they did to survive their trauma, and it's the only way they know how to be. So don't judge them for those things, but do be aware that they exist in other people. This is a particularly right period to tap into the fount of intuitive wisdom, third eye, that's available to you. Quietly observe your environment, watching, listening for signs and omens that will give you answers to any questions you may have. I will give you guys a good example. It wasn't necessarily a question that I had, but the term holy fire has shown up for me in so many different ways in the last week, and it's a phrase I had never heard of before. So I looked it up, and in the way I receive messages from my guides or my intuition or whatever you want to call it, my synchronicities, I look up, what that means, and then from there, what does that mean? And there, it's a rabbit hole for me, but that's just how it works for me. It may work differently for you, but pay attention to those things because they're out there. So if you have questions, pay attention to when the answers come. Might come in the form of a billboard. It might come in the form of a conversation you hear at the grocery store. Might come in the form of a tarot reading or a Carl Jung podcast or whatever. And by the way, Carl Jung is the psychologist that was really exploring or describing or explaining or defining what shadow work is. And this is a shadow work channel, so Carl Jung, man, he's my hero. Anyway, now is a particularly significant time for prophecy, and you will see, hear, or feel events before they actually happen. So those of you who have the gift of foresight that can kind of see things before they happen, I know my friend Sarah's real big on this. She can see, she'll have a dream, and the dream will happen a few weeks later, a few days later, a few hours later. But I personally have not developed that gift yet. I kind of like to be surprised. I'm not gonna lie, I like to be surprised. I'm okay with the not knowing. But anyway, those of you who are, pay attention. And if you're not, the signs are there. Whether you want to see them or not, that's up to you. Your most creative cycle now is the night. So set aside time in the evening to work on projects. So have you heard the phrase night owl, right? Owls can see in the dark. Owls can turn their heads 360 degrees. They see all perspectives, and they see in the dark. They get clarity. We talk about the tarot cards and the cards that are at the nighttime. It's when things are unclear. But an owl, nighttime is when they do become clear. Owl can't necessarily see. I don't know. Maybe they can, but I'm guessing they probably see better at night. But think about what those things mean to you. What does an owl mean to you? For me, without this book, it means to listen, to sit still and listen and observe. Just observe. No judgment, no words, no pattern recognition, no meaning, just observe. And what do you see without judgment? That is a very difficult thing to do, guys, and it's not something I do consistently all the time. I wish I could, but I'm human. Live in a world of duality, and I have my moments of unity. I have my moments when I can see everything as one, right? All aspects, the coin instead of the heads and the tails. But I slip down. It's waves in the ocean. You have good days, you have bad days, you have insightful days, and then you have not so insightful days. And it depends on everything. It depends on your activity level, your time in nature, your diet, and by your diet, I don't mean the food that you eat necessarily, but I do mean the what you allow into your mind. Like I watch podcasts, I listen to Reiki music, I listen to Grateful Dead, I listen to Bob Marley, the Beatles, whatever. I am very selective about what I allow into my digestive system of my mind. So there's that. Anyways, I know. I kind of went on a little bit about this. I didn't really think the after reading was going to be this long. But, so there it is. All right. I'm going to leave it there, guys. We'll talk soon. Much love and light. Take care.